Welcome to the Landmark Theater's Q&A podcast. In this podcast, you will hear a discussion with Jason Schwartzman from the film The Overnight, moderated by Landmark Theater's president, Ted Mundorff, recorded at the Landmark West LA.
I first saw this film at Sundance, and I was blown away, obviously. And it's just really wonderful to be here tonight. And I snuck in a couple of times and listened to the reaction and how wonderful it is. Did you see it at Sundance? Were you at Sundance? And were you surprised at the reaction there, which was just as good?
Yeah, I was able to see it in Sundance, and it was a nice feeling. I with a movie like this, which ultimately I think is about friendship and these couples investigating themselves. It does have these moments that are hopefully going to get a lot of people to react at once. And that's nerve-wracking because if it doesn't really happen, right, it's scary. And Sundance, it was a great thing. It did happen. But what I didn't expect from Sundance was the awkwardness in the room between the laughter. I haven't been part of too many movies where there was a very palpable tension in the room. And I've seen the movie a few times and snuck in and listened. And the silence is amazing, too. And it's like there's a lot of gasping. And one screening, there was a guy who just kept saying, "Oh no, oh no, oh no." But it was amazing. He did it the whole time. And I loved it. I mean, I was like, I wish I could just have him go to all the screenings. Because he was actually adding a flavor to the room. But it was so just as much as I was glad and surprised by the laughter and the kind of like hystericalness, I really was more surprised by the quiet, tense moments when things are starting to get a bit awkward. But don't you attribute that to, I mean, you're not going to say acting. I'll attribute it to the acting of all four of the characters. I mean, it was just tremendous. And the direction was terrific. Yeah. And the editing to keep that as tight as this film is. It didn't come out. It's not 3.5 hours, so you don't blow it because it's too long, right? It's short, tight, and smart. Yes, it is. I mean, I really do think the Patrick Bryce who wrote it and directed it, and the editor, and they really did. It's no one's ever said that about the editing, so I'm glad that you mentioned that. And it's true that the movie is very tight, and I think it does often walk a delicate balance, and they did a good job, I think, in the writing of it and in the editing of it. But yeah, I mean, Patrick always said the whole time that no matter how crazy we feel, and I know you're wearing a prosthetic penis right now while I'm talking to you, but no matter how you feel... And you said I'm not. And I said, Patrick, I'm not in wardrobe yet, my friend. No. Patrick, we're at my house right now. But no matter how much it has those elements, and for lack of better term, gags, like some gags type things, it really is about friendship and these quieter moments. So we were always that was the thing we were focusing on more. Well, I mean, you just see the tension come up, in the couple scenes I just watched again. You just immediately watch the tension come up, and then the break in that. I mean, it's really well done, really smart. What role did Adam Scott have with you getting you to this project? Because he was a producer, correct? He was a producer, yeah. And I'm sorry. And you did some Parks and Rec with him, and so tell us about that. Well, I've been a fan of Adam Scott's work for a very long time, and he's like a great example to me of someone who he's so smart and so funny, but and can also play a very held back person without being boring, I think. And so anyway, his name to me has like a cachet, or I associate it with like smart things and funny things. I even loved his HBO show. Did you ever see his? Oh, he had an HBO show that was great. So when I received the script, it comes with a piece of paper that has everyone involved in the information about the movie, and it said this is going to star Adam Scott, and it's being produced by Adam Scott and his wife Naomi Scott. And so instantly I feel like this, to me, is going to be something unique. It had a big part of it. And I think he was amazing to work with as a producer, because he never, I don't know if you know, but we made the movie in 10 nights. And so it was a total of 12 days, 10 of which were nights. So, there was a lot to do in those 10 nights. I think we shot like 8 to 10 pages a day. And Adam never seemed nervous or stressed out. He was a great producer, too.
Did you know the other, and speaking of nights and how short usually you get to make an independent film, you're not on you're not 60 days, you're in a minute and a half. How did you create that? You knew Adam from before. Did you know the other cast members from before?
I met Adam. I only met him briefly on Parks and Recreations. We didn't have a scene together, but he came in. That set was amazing how they would do it, and it was like a carousel, like different actors would just become. So I met him, and it was exciting to meet him. And he embarrassed me sort of recently, where he's like, "Do you know though where we first met?" And I didn't. It was a long time ago. I mean, it was like 10 years ago, or it was in 1999. Very quickly at a party. So I was flattered that he remembered, and I felt really saddened that I let him down on that. But he's the kind of guy that, he remembers everything. But I hadn't met Taylor Schilling or Judith Godrich, but there was a weird thing that happened. I was the last cast member to join the movie, and they had all met and had dinner together and were kind of a unit. I mean, they didn't even have that much time, but more of a unit than me being a part of it. And I actually, the day that I got the script, it was weird. I was given an ultimatum, which was which has also never happened to me before. Usually, it's so hard to get a movie made, as we all, I'm sure, have heard a million times, but it really is. And so everyone's trying, and sometimes they're going to happen, then they don't happen, or you want to be in that, but you can't be because you're not a person that can get it financed. It's very complicated, and so this was a unique situation where I was given a script. They said, you have an offer to be in this movie, and you have to give them an answer by 1 p.m. today. I've never been in that situation. I'm also a very slow reader, so it was it was a lot coming at me. But that same morning, early that morning, I went to a physical therapy type thing for an injury, and Taylor Schilling happened to be there. And she said, I'm Taylor Schilling, and we sent you the script. You should have received it today. And it's a great movie, and this director, Patrick Brice, he's an incredible person, and the actors were all so nice. We get along, and it's going to be wonderful. And I swear in that meeting, just meeting her for 2 seconds, it had a lot to do because, I know she's a good actor, but that felt very real. And it felt like that this was something very special. It was an odd meeting.
Well, you guys pulled it off. I mean, you guys look like,
It was
you
fun.
were married for over 10 years.
But I met Judith the first day of shooting.
Is that right?
Yeah, I walked on, I said, hi, I'm Jason, I'm your husband. And she said, hi. And then we started shooting about 10 minutes later. But I do think that, because we made the movie at night, I think that it helped us as actors get to know each other in a different way. And I think it's because if it was in the daytime, there are many distractions. And
plus you couldn't work your day job.
Couldn't work the day job.
That's right.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't work my day job. But I think that, honestly, the phone situation can be distracting, and people are getting text messages, and whether you like it or not, you're having a million conversations, and people are asking you things all day long, all of us. And I think that because it was night and LA was asleep, no one had phones on them. And we shot it all in this house. There was no trailers. There was nothing. We all shared one room. And I think all of those ingredients added to like an instant intimacy. That was, without question, I think, totally attributed to working at night, and I think we were lucky to do it that way.
Do you think that Duplessis came up with that, or because I know they're heavily involved in this film, and they're extremely busy these days with HBO, and they just made a new deal.
I know. I don't know how they do that.
It's gonna be
But I think it was just because I know that some people wanted to shoot it during the day and pretend that it was night, but Patrick was like, we got to shoot it at night, and it was amazing, and it felt real to me because I have 2 kids. When I was making this, my second daughter was only 6 weeks old, but I definitely felt like it was really like the movie because my daughter would go to bed, my 4-year-old, and then I would go and do all this stuff in a very warm swimming pool, and then come home in the morning, and she'd be like waking up, like, "Hi, Daddy." And I'd be like, "Hi," and she'd say, "How was work? How was your night?" And I was like, "It was good. It was good. What do you want for breakfast?" Because I don't want to talk about it. I still have glue on my body.
Yeah, right. I'll stay away from that.
Yeah.
So 46 years ago, there was a little movie came out called Bob Carroll, Ted and Alice.
Yeah.
And have you ever seen it?
Yeah.
And
well, never
Go
mind.
ahead.
No, I just one time I got to shake Paul Mazursky's hand one time. It was pretty cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, we actually did a retro on it about 6 months ago here, and the cast was here, and it was a blast. And
How was
it was
that?
it was
Amazing?
lots and lots of fun, and the movie, I never believed it would hold up as well as it did, but it was fun to see again.
Yeah. Wow, that's so good.
So everybody compares this to that. Do you see, this is a 2015 version of it, or any kind of comparison to
Well,
it?
obviously there are probably some comparisons, and even like when we had just done we were doing the scene in the bed at the end of the movie that night, which she shot basically the movie in chronological order. So that was the last evening of shooting, and we did like a still photo on Patrick's phone of sort of like a mock-up of the, of the same poster. But
The key art.
yeah, I didn't really think about it too much, because there wasn't time, and it wasn't really, to me it was different. If anything, I really wasn't thinking about anything but this movie because there was truly no time. But if anything, I always loved Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. That's like one of my favorite movies, and the play is so beautiful. And I like that in a way there's a similarity, and in a way there's a big difference, which is that in that movie, Richard Burton and Elizabeth Taylor, that's like a sport for them. And in this one, we're not good at it. We've never done anything like this before. And I think that's, I like that twist on it. But to me, it always had a different...
So your character really hadn't done that before?
No, I didn't think so.
You didn't think so?
No. But you can think so.
Well,
that's the one thing I must say, I do like about movies is we all can see the same thing and feel 100 million different ways. And your feelings can always change, too. I can't tell you how many movies I've seen, and when I saw them, I didn't relate to it. I was like, I don't. And then 2 years later, I saw it again. I was like, I love this movie. Yeah. And I think that's the beautiful thing about movies and music is it's kind of the same thing, but you change, you orbit around it, and I think that's what's so cool about it.
So when you...
What if you disagreed? I disagree.
So when you first read the script slowly,
yes.
but quickly,
yeah.
And you got to the nudity part, I guess I have to ask this: were you like, how am I going to do this, or what were your thoughts about that, or did you even think about it that much?
That's a trick question.
Well, it could be.
No, I wasn't sure because in the script it describes Kurt's penis. First, when he takes his pants off, it talks about like this, like I actually should have looked it up, but it said like a python, like something in his underwear that you see, and they react to it. And then it says he goes up and he takes off his pants and he's very well endowed and he goes in the pool. But to me, I mean, that could just be the director and the person writing it that way. It doesn't necessarily, in my mind, it's not the same thing. So I could have easily seen a version of it where you weren't seeing it. I didn't know as I was reading it. I thought it was really funny when I was reading it. But when I talked to Adam Scott, that was like the first thing he said was like, so we're going to show the penises, but they're all prosthetic. And how do you feel about that? And it seemed fine.
Okay. All right. I love how the film opens and closes with the kids running and breaking into the bedroom, right?
Yeah, I do too.
Okay. So was that in the script originally, or that's all part of the script?
Almost everything in the movie is in the script. Of course, there was some improvisation here and there, but not a ton. The only improv that I can really think of off the top of my head is just anything physical you see, like playing in the pool or the dancing. Those are just moments where they're just letting the camera roll and just kind of yelling out, like, now do this, now do that, just trying things physically. And, of course, there's little things here and there. But, again, the script is so well written, and it is a delicate thing. I mean, on the page, too, when you're reading it, it reads very broad. And Patrick was just always like saying, don't do the broad one. We're going for a different thing. So if you get too far away from the buoy, it could be a different movie. So I think all of us really just stayed together.
Very good. Well, I want to open it up.
And can I say one thing?
Yeah, please.
Because I just realized as I was saying that is that it's really Adam and Taylor who did the most amazing job, because they made my and Judith's job very easy, because they never really judged us too negatively during the course of the movie. And while we were acting, I felt that too. They seemed like they wanted to be there. And therefore, it didn't make our two characters seem like we were keeping them there. And that was really important, because it is a sensitive thing. Like, you don't want the movie to be like, well, they smoked pot and gave them wine and sort of drugged these people, even though that is happening. It's a fact in the movie. It happened.
But you want it voluntary.
But you want to be voluntary, and I love the way they did it, which was like they were kind of experiencing it and going with it, because then it made us not have to be like, super needy for that. So thank you, Adam.
But next time we'll meet at a restaurant, right?
Next time we'll meet at a restaurant. Yeah. How did it feel to kiss?
How did it feel to kiss the other guy?
I had kissed a man before. I had. But how did it feel? This time? This time, you mean? Well, I think, I will say one thing was that we all had these 10 days together, and you are going towards it. You know what I mean? As a cast, like, this is going to happen. This scene's going to happen. And how is it going to unfold? How are we going to do it? Like, how it happens in the movie is sort of like this odd, like all of us together, and then it just kind of happens. That was not planned like that. And Adam said, because I don't even remember, but he said that the first take, we started just laughing. We started kissing and then just giggling and then laughing, but we kept going, but laughing. And he said they almost considered using that take, just like everyone kind of like feeling laughter. But the facts of kissing were, I wasn't expecting the goatee to be so prickly. Truly. I mean, I'm just being honest, not even to be funny, but I was not expecting his facial hair to be so scratchy. And just a man feels different. Like, the skin is more coarse and hotter. And it's just a different experience. But it was a wonderful night. I can't describe it, but like that whole thing, like everyone in that, by the way, the crew was 15 people, so maybe less than people sitting right in the front. And the whole thing was very intimate and nice. And I think that we did about 4 or 5 takes of that scene, and it was very, I think there were, at different times there were a lot of different nerves. But once we did the first time, and we laughed. It was very nice and professional, and I always liked it because it's not supposed to be funny. It's supposed to be a very true, sincere moment that I really like, and I think is in the movie as you see it, which is just one complete take. There's no cutting in it, so we did like 4 or 5 complete takes, and I like that it's kind of sloppy and strange. Well, but the kids were not in the. That's a cut when the kids come in. The kids were not there for that.
Well, I have a suggestion.
Yes.
For the sequel, go with the beard. You get Adam back.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But I know. But my beard is pushed to a level now where it's soft.
You can trim it right
so
before.
Soft. I know I should. I should just trim certain ones so it's like a little tiny daggers. And I just look at them and I say, that's right, bitch. Yeah, my feeling was this is the first time, and more than anything, Patrick said this thing to me. He goes, don't even think about anything but your character thinks Adam's character is just awesome. He's just he's so excited to have met this person. And that's always where I wanted to come from, because everything else is so implicit that I think it gets like, it'll become too much if it's like sexual. It's more just about like him thinking he's great.
That's terrific. That was
a nice direction.
Yeah. Everybody hear that? What was your favorite part in the film?
I don't know. Well, my favorite part in the film, there's 2. One is the scene in the jacuzzi, because I think that Adam's monologue is just, it's so incredible. Like, it's just amazing. And that's something that, like, he's saying some really crazy stuff. Like, on the page, it's like, how would someone say that? It's why, and he just did it so masterfully. And also, I love the scene with Taylor and Adam towards the end in the bathroom. She does this thing where she puts her hand on her mouth.
When it switches.
Yeah, and she's like, and it's so like, it gives me the chills. It's like a reflex she did in that take, I guess, but it's just like it's just a defining moment to me in the scene. I love it so much. Honestly, I think there are like a handful of actors who are so famous and worth a lot that they can plot out their future as far as they would like, in a way. Like, I'd like to do 2 baseball movies, then follow it up with a nice this movie and do that or whatever. So I try to think that way, sort of, but I also can't, so I just react. I'm a bit more reactive too. And so I'm not thinking like, I would like to do a movie with 15 people, small budget. Like, I'm not even thinking in that way. I truly just want to read things and look for things and have ideas of things that are interesting to me. And I try to just be interested in stuff in general, and sometimes it syncs up with things. Like, this idea of making friends at a certain age in your life has been something that's been on my mind for a while, because our really good friends just moved to Austin. Before I read the script, I was thinking, man, that's got to be weird for them. They have a kid. They don't know anyone. What do they do? So it was a weird thing. But really, I think it just like, I read this and I loved it. I thought it was a great, strange blend of bigger moments and quieter moments. And I love the idea, because I love the making of the movie is what's fun, and I want it to be an adventure, and I want to learn. And it said they're making this movie in 12 days, 10 nights. That's like, to me, and they're starting like in a day or 2. I mean, I love that was very appealing to me. Even before I knew what the script was, that was a draw to me, because it was a crazy concept. So that's really where it's sort of like a gut feeling, and I hope that's okay of an answer.
Well, thank you, Jason.
I just want to say thank you guys so much and these questions, by the way, we've been doing a lot of Q&As. Adam and I have been doing all these Q&As, and this Q&A, none of the questions, I wish Adam was here, none of the questions I've ever been asked before. Isn't that crazy? So just thank you for asking these great questions, you guys, truly. So I'll see you later.
Thank you very much, and thanks to Orchard for picking up the film and distributing it.